All right, ladies, the next step is fabric. Now, you know I have lots and lots and lots of fabric. If you're going to sew with knits, I highly recommend Fabric Mart fabrics. Today they have sections A through D on sale for 65 off. Tomorrow they may have sections E through O. That would include the K's, and the K's are knits. Click on ITY knits, scroll down through them. They'll be super reasonably priced. Pick some that you like and order them. They always give me extra fabric. Let me see how much they gave me in this one. They're very generous. Very generous. I have found many flaws. 1, 2 yards and 15 inches. So they gave me 15 inches extra of this, okay? So what I do is I go in my stash and I choose my least favorite knit fabric. So I don't know why I ordered this. I don't even like it. I don't usually like brown. You want to make sure it stretches. Now, some knits stretch both ways, some stretch just one way. This one stretches just one way. It stretches from selvage to selvage. Across the width, it stretches a ton. The more it stretches, the more that cowl neck is going to cowl, and the better it's going to look. Okay, so this stretches forever that way, but it does not stretch this way at all. Okay, so I simply fold it up to my neck and kind of drape it a little bit, and I see, oh yeah, that's cowly enough. So I'm going to use this fabric to cut out my first ABB Tee. Now, these knits are usually very wide. So instead of folding them completely in half, I've lost the selvage now, where is it? Instead of folding it, you can see it's super wide. Super wide, over 50 inches wide. So you can see you could easily get a whole top out of one half of it. So what you do is you put it on your table and you fold it into the center from both sides. And that gives you 2 fold lines, one over here and one over here. And so you'll only have to use part of your fabric that way, and you can probably easily get 2 tops out of this with a short sleeve. Sleeveless you could definitely get 2. Except the neck takes quite a bit. The collar takes quite a bit. So I'm going to lay it out on my table. I might just snap some pictures of what it looks like after I lay it out, okay? And then I am going to sew it together, put it on, and so we'll have a sample. This is not going to be the sew along. I don't know when I'm going to do the sew along. It would be so much easier with another person, because then I can get the camera really up close and you can see what they're doing on the sewing machine. So for now, I'm just going to put the very first one together so y'all can look at it and see it. Remember, you can go to Fit Nice System, look down in the description box I've been leaving you, and it tells you where to go to find the Dondi Top video. And she tells you exactly what to do to get the neckline. And you don't have to buy it to get the information. Let me tell you all about knit fabric. You can see I have it laid out here on my table, and I have it folded from the side into the center on both sides. This is the selvage and this is the selvage. I am going to cut on this fold and I'm going to cut on that fold. But there's something drastic going on here. Do you know what it is? There's something very drastic going on, and we must correct it before we start cutting. This is a knit. It's a very stretchy, and the weight of it hanging down pulls against itself, and it will distort all of this up here if I don't lift this part up onto the table where it can rest and quit pulling against the rest of this. I want to show you my insurance. I know everything always fits me up here at the top, but in the waist and in the hip, even though it'll fit me, I know it'll fit me because I know there's enough there, I might like it a little fuller, a little more fabric to flow over the bumpy parts. So I just started here under the bust line and came out to 1/2 inch at the waist, and then I went from there down here to 3/4 at the bottom. I may end up cutting it all off, but if I don't put it there and I happen to want more fullness in that skirt, I won't have it if I don't add it now. All right, that's Sandra Betzina's insurance, she calls it. Only she puts 1 inch the whole way up, so does Philly. But I know I never need it up here, so I don't put it. All right, the first thing we're going to do is sew the shoulders together. We got the front, we got the back. And we're just going to pin these shoulders together and sew a 3/8 inch seam in them. Now, my right shoulder is a 1/2 inch lower right here than my left shoulder. So I always take this shoulder in a 1/2 inch extra right here. So what I do is I draw a line. Ouch. I find the right side and I draw a line where I am going to sew. You can see the yellow chalk. Where I'm going to sew that shoulder lower. 1/4 inch lower here, the same here at the neck. Nothing different at the neck. 1/2 inch lower here and up to the neck. And the black tape is stay tape. Stay tape. You don't have to do this. Some teachers say you have to do it. It's usually the ones that sell the stuff. Other teachers say they never ever use it. Peggy Sagers for one. They never use it. I do. I just like the shoulder to be stable up here on my shoulder and not like stretch and fall down and sag or whatever. But if you don't have it, it's okay. Or you can cut a piece of the selvage. You could use it for your stay tape. You could cut a piece of woven stay tape and sew it there. The main thing is you want to take the stretch out of that shoulder area right there. This is fusible stay tape. A lot of people sell it. Palmer and Plush sell it, so this kind. And that cute little girl, Pamela's Patterns sells it. All right, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sew the shoulders together. Then I'm going to pin the side seams together, and I'm going to sew the side seams together. Then I am going to go try it on, and I'll show it to you right then. Okay, ladies, 2 more tips. You want a stretch needle. You can try a ballpoint needle, but I have found that the stretch needle works best for these slinky knits. Stretch needle. Write that down. This one is a Schmetz Stretch 75/11. Say that real fast. Schmetz Stretch, Schmetz Stretch, Schmetz Stretch. Now, let me tell you another really, really important thing. What do we have here? We have another cliff. We have another cliff where our fabric is hanging down. We don't want hanging anywhere on this knit. I have this platform table here. You guys will have one too. They have even bigger ones, but you don't need a bigger one. All you need to do is take this and lift it up here. Lift it up here so here under the part you're sewing, it's not falling down, okay? And it's stable. If I walk away, it's going to stay there for 100 years. It's not going to move. It's not stretching, okay? Then you got to figure out where 3/8 inch is. You figure out 3/8 inch by putting your needle down and measuring to the edge of the foot. Mine is exactly 3/8 inch right at the edge of my foot. Hold the tails of your thread when you start stitching. I am going to stitch with a 3.0 length, and I'm going to turn it just a little tiny bit to a zigzag. So it's going to be a real soft zigzag. Now sometimes your fabric, the machine wants to eat it. Don't be frustrated if it does. You can fix that by See, mine's doing real screwy. It's sewing real dumb and screwy. It's not sewing at all where I want it to, and it's eating everything up. See there? How long have I been sewing, y'all? 1,000 years? And now I can see, okay, this fabric's going to be a pain in the butt to sew. So, what I'm going to do is rip that out. I'm going to come over here to this side, and on this side, I'm going to do it different. I am going to start deeper into it. I'm going to start like a 1/2 inch inside. And this is my deep shoulder, so I got to go to 5/8 inch there. And I'm going to go into it, past that part that was giving me problems. And I'm going to take the zigzag off it until I get started. That's why I don't like to do videos. There's so many things that can come up. Start real slow. Now that started fine. So now I'm going to put my little skinny zigzag in. Your machine should have a knob. Mine has a knob, and you can turn the straight stitch into a zigzag whenever you want. It is totally up to you. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is turn around and go back and finish the part that I had to skip because it's being difficult. It's a difficult fabric. See there? So from here to here it's not stitched. So I'm just going to go back here to where it is stitched, and I'm going to start there, and I'm going to go over here to this side and finish my stitch. And now it didn't know it was supposed to be difficult because I confused it. And I didn't do it the way I usually do it. So there's my very, very first stitch is the shoulder seam. Ladies, here we are for our first try on. And you can see I'm back in front of my triple mirrors. If you don't have a triple mirror, you have a mirror. And if you have a hand mirror, you can simply stand in front of your single mirror with the hand mirror, and you can hold it up and look. Okay, hold it this way and look. Look at the fit. Look at this. This is just a dream. It's a little bit wide in the shoulders, I would say. It's got some threads hanging. I am going to, this is really a pretty low cowl. It's pretty low. Now, if I had boobs up here like a lot of you ladies do, this would be too low. So you want to check that on your paper pattern. When you're holding that paper one up to you, if it's too low, because this is going to come down another 3/8 inch, but that cowl neck's going to fill this in quite a bit. But I can see now that I want to bring this part back away from my neck. You know, I cannot stand anything touching my neck. So I am going to cut this back a little bit further. The back neck is fine. It looks fine. So I'll just cut it just a little bit lower and around and line it up with the front, like right here. But look at the chest. Look at the chest. No wrinkles. No wrinkles here because I pulled it up. I changed the shoulder slope. So the shoulder slope is my shoulder slope. Shoulder slope and stretch. Shoulder slope and stretch. So, this will have a 3/8 inch seam. When the sleeves are in, it might suck that up, and it might be okay. But I don't know. I think I'm going to change it. I think I'm going to mark it. Let's have a pin. I don't have a pin, but I'll go with some chalk or something. And I'm going to mark my dent. You lift your arm up, you'll have a dent. You'll have a dent right there where your shoulder bones come together like chicken legs, you know? Right there. Mark that and mark this one. And then when you take it off, measure out 3/8 inch from there and cut it off to where it is at that line at the top of your shoulder. Don't cut the rest of it off, just kind of angle it down. I'll show you when I do it, okay? But I added the insurance on, and I like the insurance. I like it a lot. I like that insurance. The length is fine if I wear it with leggings. I'm even starting to like this ugly material. Now remember, this is my muslin. This is my first try cutting this out in fabric. And because I went to all that trouble to start with, with the paper, the real deal is perfect. It's just perfect. The arms, remember I had to cut the armholes down lower? There they are. Perfect. This one that I took up a 1/2 inch, I'll actually lower this one. But I haven't done it yet. Okay? So now, all I have to do is hem it. I'll show you when I put the cowl neck in. Now this is just about as much tutorial as you're actually going to need. I can't teach you how to use your sewing machine. But the next time I'm with Lauren, we will really do a sit down and watch her sew the whole thing, okay? But for now, you're going to have to settle for my poor version of a sew along. And let me tell you something. If you ever do this, and you're going to spend like 6 hours making videos for your friends, look in the mirror and make sure you don't have lipstick on your teeth. I checked part of this video and I had lipstick all over my front teeth. So could we just pretend like that's left over from Christmas and it's just a Christmas decoration? I like had glitter on my teeth. I'll be back. Okay, I'm back in my other shirt now, and I have pinned together my patternese pattern. And I am going to fix the neckline and the shoulders on this patternese. Now, when I had this top on, I made some chalk marks here. You see that chalk mark? Showing how far out I want that away from my throat. I don't like it. I feel like I'm being hung with a stretchy rope. All right, that's a 1/2 inch out at the shoulder line, and I'm just going to taper it down into this curve. All right, so here's the shoulder line. Here's the shoulder line. You cannot tell from this that it's strange that way. So I'm going to come in one and be sure you're at the shoulder and not the armpit now. This is the front and back neck we're working at. So I'm going to bring this in 1/2 inch here. Then I'm going to get my styling ruler. Lucky for me, I have 6 styling rulers. So we'll use this one. So we're going to see how this curve was made, all right? This is the same thing, it's just a shorter version. I got this from Palmer Plesh. So we're going to find the curve that the pattern company used. That's the curve right there. That is it. And I am just going to bring this into that 1/2 inch mark, and I am going to redraw that curve right there. There it is. So that is going to chop off. You can see it's going to chop off that area that I had marked. All of this right here is going to get ready to get chopped off. All right. Now, we are going to have to adjust the back to match the shoulder. So we will find the curve that they put in the back. And the curve they put in the back is right there. And we'll simply move it down and redraw it. And since I haven't finished the neckline, I haven't put the Dondi top on yet, I can make all the changes I want in the world to this neckline. Well, I can't make it any shorter. I can sure make it longer. Okay. Now, that's that. Now the shoulders. When I had the top on, the shoulders were too deep. So I'm going to compare them to each other and see if they're the same deepness, and they are. So I need to bring the shoulders in quite a bit. Wow. I need to bring the shoulders in a lot. A lot. I probably should measure. Let's measure and see if it agrees with what I've got in the garment here. There's 3/8 inch. So from there to there is 3/4 of an inch. It wants me to cut back this shoulder edge right here. It wants me to cut it back 3/4 of an inch. That's quite a bit. So I am going to test it against my body. I know that I am 15 inches from the center of my chest, which would be the center front here. I know that I'm 15 inches from there to my shoulder. What's half of 15 inches? Who knows? Who knows? Lady there in the green top, sipping the Dr. Pepper. Is your name Philly? How do you know? You measure yourself. I can't show you, but you know where those dents are that I just told you. You measure from one dent across your body to the other dent. Mine's 15 inches. Half of that is 7.5. So I am going to measure, line your center front up with one of these lines. Measure from that line out to this shoulder edge. And believe it or not, it's like 7 inches already. According to this paper pattern, it's 7 inches. Isn't that strange? But when I put this on my body, it wants to stretch past that. So that might just be the nature of the knit, even though I stabilized that. Even though I stabilized it. So what I'm going to do, since the paper says it's right, but the garment makes it look too long, I'm going to go ahead and put the collar in. That's the next thing I'm going to do. I'm going to put the collar in. And then I'll see if that pulls the shoulders in a little bit. We shall see. First I'm going to make this correction here. And then I've got to make it on the fabric, on the top I made. I have to make that correction on the top I made, right there. So I'm just going to attach those two pieces together, and that's going to be my guide for cutting back my neckline. Now, the next thing you have to do is measure your neckline. You have to measure before you cut your collar out. When you watch that video, she tells you all about it. So, I am going to measure on the 3/8 inch line. I may have already put this in the video, and it won't go over pins, so take the pin out. I may have already put this in the video. But now that I've changed the neckline, I'm going to have a different measurement, of course. So now I have 13 and almost 3/4. Let's do it again. I don't know what I had before. I had the same thing before. It did not change the neckline. So the neckline's still 13 3/4 times 2 equals 27.5. Plus 2 is 29.5. So I am going to cut my collar 29.5 by 13 inches. 29.5 is the neckline times 2, because this is only half of your garment. You have 2 sides, 2 backs. 13 3/4 times 2 plus 2 is 29.5. 29, be sure and do plus 2. Plus 2, plus 2, plus 2. Be sure you do plus 2 inches. That's what makes it cowly. Times 13 inches. I am going to cut a piece out of my fabric that size, and then I'm going to sew the collar in, and then we will check the shoulders again on the actual garment and see if they still hang over my shoulder bones. All right, I'll be back. It's a good idea to not only measure the neckline of your paper pattern, measure the neckline of your garment, because a lot of times they're different. This one was 1 inch longer in the garment than in the neck. It's just the nature of the beast called knit. Here is my Dondi collar. 13 inches this way and 30 inches this way. My neckline is 28 inches. I'm going to sew it together on these short ends with a 1/2 inch seam, because that's what the Dondi top has, is a 1/2 inch seam. Okay? Sew it like that. Then we're going to put the right sides together. Then we're going to mark the quarters of it, the front, the back, and the side quarters, and then we're going to match it up with the hole in the blouse, the front and the back centers and the side quarters. The shoulders are never the side quarters. Write that down. Punch your neighbor. Did you hear what she said? The shoulders are never the quarter marks. They aren't. Do you want me to show you? Knit is a strange beast. But once you get used to it, oh, I don't sew anything but knit these days, hardly. I think I sewed some cotton for my fashion show. I haven't worn any of it. You see here? This is center front, this is center back. Look where the shoulder seams are. I mean, you can tell right there, there's no way that's in the center going the other way. So, you match up center front. I made little tiny clips in mine. You match up center front and center back of the neck, and then you fold it up all even, and then you make a clip over here. And you can see that the clip where the quarter mark is right here. Let me hold it with my finger. The clip is here, the shoulder is here. That's 2 inches, you guys. So if you accidentally think the shoulders are a quarter mark, your collar isn't going to work and it isn't going to look right. Remember that. Here's the neck. I haven't used the serger yet. You might not have a serger. If you don't have a serger, it doesn't matter. Knit doesn't ravel. Knit does not N-O-T. I guess I should go N-O-T. It doesn't ravel. That 1/2 inch seam, cut it down to about 1/4 inch. You don't have to serge it. So this is the collar. I'm going to put it on my head, and I'm going to see what it looks like before I put it in the blouse. So I'm just going to fold that seam in half. I am going to fold the rest of it in half. I'm going to pin it on the seam and try not to look like I've been attacked by a vampire when I try it on. I know, I've got the pins in my mouth. Don't put pins in your mouth. Do as Mother says, not as Mother does. Oh, I actually don't believe that. You want your kids to do something right, you do it right. Oh, that's my speech to my grandkids. You don't want your kids to smoke, don't you smoke. Okay, that's my lecture there. Let's put it on and see how it cowls. There we go. I wondered why it was so big. Now look at that. Isn't that a pretty cowl? See, and so that will be set into that neckline, and it will just cowl right around like that. Isn't that fun? So the whole thing about just a plain old ordinary everyday plain free tee, the only thing that makes it a cowl is this. That's it. Isn't it fun? Isn't it pretty? Ah, I think we could just like make up 1,000 scarves like that. That is really fun. So now I'm going to put quarter marks on this. How am I going to do that? The first mark is the seam you just made. The second mark is halfway across from the seam that you made. Then you put those 2 marks together and you mark each side. Then you have quarter marks. You can use pins, you can use white pins all the way around and use blue pins where the quarter marks are. You can use slits. If you're uncomfortable sewing 3 layers of slinky knit together, put this in your sewing machine or your serger and serge this edge together first, or stitch it first. I don't have to because I'm really good at holding these edges together. I have learned over many, many years of experience that I am the boss of the material. It is not the boss of me. Here's my quarters. You can see I've got white pins all the way around, but where the quarter marks are, I have these blue flower pins. So I know that means those are my quarter marks. Okay? The seam goes to the center back. The seam goes to the center back. Peggy Sagers will tell you it lines up with the shoulder. I disagree with her. I say it goes to the center back. I don't want this hanging down my shoulder. I want it hanging down my back neck where nobody can see it, unless they're behind me. And then I can turn around and then they won't see it anymore. All right, I'm going to put it in and then I'll come show it to you on me and we'll see. I was thinking that with the garment being so close to my neck and hugging my neck like that, that now that I've cut it away, maybe the shoulders will pop up where they belong. I'll show you in a minute. This machine is a Bernhardt 740 and it has this even feed foot on it. You don't have to have an even feed foot. You can do this without one. All right, so here's my neck. The shoulder seams I am going to make go forward. Forward. I learned that, I believe, from Sandra Betzina. When the shoulder seams come forward, these go backwards. This is a store-bought top. It leaves, no, they come forward actually. When they go backwards, you can see the seam here. You can see the dent. It's kind of a little hill. If you put the seams forward, the hill can be seen from the back of you. So they're going to be seeing that seam from the back of you. They might as well see that from the back of you too. So the first thing I'm going to do is pin the shoulder seams toward the front. So when I get to them, I won't have to figure out which way front is. Okay? I'm also going to cut off this little doohickey that makes it stick out funny, a little ear, because the pattern probably intended for it to be the other way. Alright, I'm going to turn this right side out. This is the blouse. I'm going to turn it right side out. I'm going to take the collar and I'm going to slip it down over the top of the blouse like an inner tube over a little kid. Alright, there you go. Now, I'm going to take the center back seam of the cowl neck collar and I'm going to match it up with this little clip I made that says, "Here I am, I'm the center back." So I am going to pin that down and I'm going to go in and out and in and out and in and out because I don't want that sucker to move. Then I'm going to come around to the front and I'm going to find my blue head pin in the front and I'm going to find the center front clip in my top and I'm going to pin those together. These blue pins are called flower head pins. I got them from Amazon. I get everything from Amazon these days. They're very, very fine pins. Now I'm going to take this other blue pin on the collar and I'm going to match it to the shoulder area, not the shoulder seam, to the shoulder area clip that I showed you. Will not be at the shoulder. And I'm going to pin that sucker down so it doesn't move. Now I'm going to take the last blue pin and I'm going to come to the last side of the shirt and I'm going to find that other shoulder and the clip that I made on it, which is 2 inches below the shoulder seam. Now you're going to have to do some stretching when you sew these together because the collar is intentionally bigger than the neckline of the shirt. It's supposed to be. That's what makes it cowly. Cowly. So you will stretch and you will have to hold behind and you will have to hold in front and your hands are going to be your tools. They're your best tools. They work great. Okay? Now, do you sew from the back? Do you sew from the front? I don't know. I just kind of look and see. Because I really don't know. I really don't know. I may do it different every single time. There I can see the 3 pieces really well. It's going to be a 3/8 inch seam because that's what the seam allowance is in the garment. Okay? I have it on 3 and I have it in a little tiny zigzag. If you have to rip that out, you're going to scream. But hopefully we won't have to rip it out. Now see my hands, I'm not back here. I don't have to be back here yet. I may later, but I don't yet. And of course, I have the walking foot. I have this little thing that feeds from the top and the bottom, so that really helps. If I didn't have that, I would probably hold it from the back. I'll do it a little ways with it on, and then I'll do it a little ways with it off, okay? All right, let's go. Let's go, let's go. Let's get this garment done. Yeah. Then we can go visit Bernhardt's in the barn. It's a beautiful day. The weather's been in the 60s and the 70s here for a week. It is so not like winter. It's just crazy. Now this one is not lined up very good. Let me see here. I'm going to pull it up, line it up. Your fingers are going to be your super duper helpers. They really are. You got 10 of them. Stick one here, stick one there. And make it behave. Make the garment behave. I have the collar down on the bottom. And I have the back of the garment staring at me. And it seems to be working very well that way. I like it. Remember, you've got 3 pieces here. Three pieces of loosey-goosey knit. So half an inch at a time. So a 1/4 inch at a time. Go slow, be careful. Pick it up and check it. Pick it up and check it. It's not a race. It's not a contest. The slower you go, the bigger the chance that you won't have to rip it out. Don't sew over the pins. Take them out when you get to them. Make sure you're stretching from blue pin to blue pin. I back tack there. I don't know why, just every once in a while I do that too. All right, we're not lined up exactly there, so I'm going to pull the one. That fell on the floor, so wear your shoes. Knit is very slippery. Very slippery. I didn't sew it for years. I just thought, I just hate that sneaky stuff. I'm not sewing it. I'm at the shoulder. And let the feed dogs move the fabric. Don't shove it. Don't push it through and don't pull it through. Let the feed dogs do that. Your fingers are just the liner upper tools. You're lining up these 3 pieces of knit so they're all at the same exact place and on top of each other. I'm going to back tackle again right there. I don't know why. I just do. I figure if it starts to rip out, then it'll have to stop before it goes the entire way around my neck. It's not going to rip out though. That's why you put the zigzag. Because when you stretch this over your head, it will stretch because of that zigzag stitch. If you had a straight stitch in there, it wouldn't want to behave. This is probably the hardest part of the whole garment, is putting this Dondi collar in here. Because it's a long way, it's 30 inches, and it's 3 layers of fabric. I just keep picking it up, moving it over. All right, let me sew the rest of it without this on. And see if it makes any difference. So now it's just like your sewing machine, unless you've got that EV. Hey, a locking foot will do the same thing. It's feeding just as good without it. Just as good. Just as good. Here's my mark to show where to put that. Shows me to sew that seam toward me because that's the front. Here's the last blue pin. And I'm almost around. Yay! Yay! The collar's in, you guys. Now how easy was that? Now I don't know, I may not. You're going to do another stitch on this collar. So, it's not going to need to be serged. You know, really, the less thread you have in it, the better. Here it is, it's on. There's the neck. It's on. What did that take? 5 minutes? 5 minutes. Let me show you the inside. This is so cute. I didn't like this fabric at all, but now that it's together, I kind of like it. Okay, you can see that rumpledy up seam there under the collar. I will go press that all, and I will press it down into the shirt. I will press it down into the shirt, and then I will come back and I will sew a seam all the way around that collar underneath the seam line to hold these 3 layers flat so they can't flip up and they can't get all loosey-goosey. Okay? I'll be back. I might as well show you how you press it. If you're going to be a seamstress, a sewer lady, I hate that word sewist, it's like a sewist, like a sewer guy, don't like it. You got to have a ham. This is called a ham. Get you a ham. Because your body isn't flat And sometimes you need something that isn't flat to sew on. And then you can get one of these things that holds your ham. How cool is that? It holds it all different ways. And then you can get a small ham and you can get a sausage ham. Hams, they're wonderful. They really are. Have somebody put that on your birthday list, your Christmas list. Oh, so many fabulous sewing tools, you guys. And so many fabulous machines. And you don't have to have machines like mine. I have expensive machines because I can afford expensive machines. I've been working since I was 18 years old and saving money for a long, long, long time. We're retired now and we're prepared for it. And I'm not buying any new machines now that we're retired, but I'm not getting rid of the ones I have either. Okay? See that? Round, round, around and around we go. You don't want to do this flat on the board for one thing. I've got a quilting top on this ironing board and it's not going to go over the end of my board. Yours might go over the end of your board and then you wouldn't need this lifter upper thing like I have. And my iron, you're going to ask me what kind of iron. This iron's expensive. It's $200 or more. It's a Rowenta Perfect Steam. Micro Steam. It's probably my third one in this house. And I'm on my third one in the other house. They do not last 2 or 3 years. Sometimes only 1 year. But I buy the extended warranty so you can get it fixed once. But even after it's fixed, it doesn't fix it very good. Okay. Now you can see that fluffy seam line that I took over there a second ago is all nice and ironed down and flat. So now I'm going to go over to the sewing machine and I'm going to be sewing so the stitch covers this seam right here and it holds it down forevermore. I'm going to stitch it from the front and I'll put a real close up on it so you can see it, okay? And then the collar will be finished. And you might want to change the foot you have on. I am going to make it, I'll turn it right side out. If you have to, take your table off. Because you're going to go around and around. Take your table off. That makes it easier to stitch next to a ditch. Okay, so now you've got an open arm. You can wrap all around your arm. Wrap your collar around the arm. Now, make sure. Make super sure with your fingers. Your fingers are your best tools. Make sure that seam we've been talking about is going down, away from the collar. Make sure the seam is going away from the collar. Then figure out where your needle should be, probably about right there. And I'm going to put it on a zigzag stitch. I'm going to put it on a real zigzag stitch now. And I'm going to do it on 2.5, and I'm going to make it a narrow, not quite so narrow zigzag. Sometimes I will change to this open toe foot for this step. This foot right here. But I think the foot that's already on there will be fine. I'm lining the foot up, this part of the foot, with this sewing line right there. There's the sewing line where I sewed the collar on. I'm lining the edge of this foot up with that. And the needle is going to zigzag right here on top of that 3-layer seam underneath. And I'm going to keep on putting my hands in here and making sure that seam is going the right way, which is away from the collar. Sew 1 inch, check it. Come on, let's move. It's not moving very well now. What's its problem? I need to make it bigger. I'm going to put it on a 3. A 3. Let's put it on a 3 and see if it moves faster. This might be when you have to sew from the back. If I had my even feed foot on, it would push it a little better. This might be when you have to go from the back, kids. Yep, this is when you have to pull from the back. Now I'm not pulling hard. I'm just helping it get through. It might not like those 3 layers that I've got right there. It might not like those 3 layers. See, it kind of catches on the layers. Come on, jump over the seam. You have to treat it kindly, and you have to go slow. All right, I am going to put my even feed foot back down, and I'm going to see if it'll go any faster. Oh yes, it goes much better. If you can buy a walking foot or buy a machine that has an even feed foot, oh, nice. A walking foot does the same thing. See, I keep checking. I keep checking. I don't want to turn this the other way around and find out I have sewn that seam into the collar instead of away from the collar. You can fix it if you do it, but it's a booger bear. This stitch I'm doing right now, nobody's ever going to see it. It's going to be underneath your collar. Go down, go down, go down. See, it was really bunching up here at first because I didn't have the walking foot on. And there we go, we're at the end. Now let's look at the inside. Turn it back inside out and let's see what we've done. This is the inside. Let me see what you can see. This is the inside. You can see my zigzag stitch. You can see these 3 layers. These 3 layers are all sewn down now and they can't move. I'm glad there's some blue there and you can see it. And the other side, which will be enclosed inside the collar, won't show. Let me find a blue part. There's a white part. See? This is the collar. This is the garment. This is the stitch I just sewed. I'll go put it on. Here we are, back in the mirror. Let me look at it. Okay, you take the back. This is the back, big back, and you fold it in half. And then you just let it fall. Let it fall to the front. When you have a bizarre print like this, something you might want to do is fiddle with the cutout, the layout, the way you put stuff in. Like I could have put this in the other way. I could have made this be on the top and the top be on the bottom if it would have looked better. Like I would like to have more of this blue in it. And remember, you can put more than 2 inches in it if you want to. Kind of high on my neck. Remember, this is my muslin. So I'm going to fiddle with this and see if there's any changes I want to make. The one change I might make is open up this neckline a little more. And that way this will open up a little more. And maybe it won't turn into a V at the bottom. It really fits good. Side seam, look at the side seam. Straight as it can be. If I had not put that sway back in it, my side seam would be forward. Now some people have forward shoulders. In a knit, I don't think it's really going to matter that much. As Peggy Sager says, there's no anatomically correct place. I like my shoulder seams to be a little more forward, but in a knit, it really doesn't matter. It's just going to lay there. So, I'm not going to put the sleeves in today, y'all. I'm too tired. But, get this far. Get this far with me. But I'm going to say goodnight for tonight. It's probably supper time already. And when I do the sleeves, which will probably be tomorrow, I'll be sure and film that for you, okay? But, good night for now.